Welcome to the history of skiing. Today we're traveling through time to explore how ski resorts went from simple snow trails to massive global winter destinations. We'll see the beginnings of skiing, the birth of the resort industry, key milestones, numbers, and where we are today. Do you know how many ski resorts there are in the world? Where was the first skiing resort? Watch till the end and find out. Skiing itself is ancient. The earliest archaeological skis date back thousands of years, for example, in regions of northern Europe like Karelia. By the mid 19th century, in places like Norway, techniques and equipment improved. For example, around 1860, Sondre Nordheim tied birch roots around his boots to better anchor to the skis. Still, these were mostly utilitarian or sport practices, not yet the purpose-built ski resorts. Picture a small alpine village nestled high in Switzerland's Engadine Valley. Long before ski lifts and sparkling appraised ski bars, St. Moritz was known not for snow, but for its healing mineral springs. Travelers from across Europe came seeking summer sunshine, clear mountain air, and the waters believed to restore health. The valley was quiet in winter, blanketed in deep snow, visited only by locals and the occasional hardy explorer. Then came an idea bold enough to change winter forever. In 1864, the visionary hotelier Johannes Badrutt looked at the silent winter landscape and saw possibility. At the end of a warm summer season, he turned to 4 English guests preparing to depart and made a daring wager. "Come back in winter," he said, "and if you don't find it just as beautiful, if you aren't delighted, I'll pay all your travel expenses." The Englishmen were skeptical. Winter in the Alps was to them a season of brutal cold and isolation. But the promise was irresistible, so they returned in December, and what they found stunned them. Brilliant sunshine reflecting off fresh snow. Blue skies so clear they seemed unreal, dry, sparkling air instead of the damp English winters they knew. According to the story, they skied, sledged, walked on frozen lakes, and stayed not for a few days but until Easter. They had discovered joy in winter, and from that single daring bet, word spread. Tourists followed. Hotels stayed open all year. Soon the quiet mountain town became Europe's first true winter resort, the birthplace of a new era of winter joy, an idea that would inspire the ski destinations we now know around the world. St. Moritz wasn't just a village anymore, it became the spark that lit the global winter tourism industry. In the early 20th century, skiing began to be developed in mountain areas as a leisure sport and tourism activity. For example, in Austria, the figure Matthias Zdarsky is called the father of alpine skiing for pioneering downhill techniques in the early 1900s. In the United States by 1940, there were around 20 big lift-serving resorts coast to coast, including places like Sugar Bowl Ski Resort, opened in 1939 in California. In Europe, large linked ski areas emerged. For example, the region Porte du Soleil, spanning France and Switzerland, had its first lift in 1934 and grew into one of the largest ski domains in the world. In 2024, more than 131 million skier visits to resorts were recorded worldwide. In the US alone, during the 2023 to 2024 season, there were around 60.5 million skier visits, though this represented a slight drop from the record 65.4 million in 2022 to 2023. Europe remains very dominant. About 62% of global skier visits happen in Europe, and the Alps region alone draws about 43%. In terms of market value, the global ski market, resorts plus equipment plus services, was estimated at over $1.7 billion in 2024 and is projected to grow. These figures show how what once was a niche winter sport has become major tourism infrastructure and global business. Skiing is a huge business worldwide which started in a small village in Switzerland. Now we have skiing resorts who have even more than 500 kilometers of slopes. What is your plan this winter? Drop a comment, subscribe, and like. Have a great cold day. I'm a huge fan of history, and I love exploring stories from every corner of the world. If you enjoy this kind of content, feel free to like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you have any questions or suggestions. Thanks so much for being here.